Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This is episode 452. Shout out to everybody enjoying their weekend. Hopefully, you guys are in a really great space. The weather is nice. Things are moving as they should. So always try to stay focused on what's transpiring and how it can be used in your favor and in connection to your overall goals. But tonight we're talking about releasing guilt. Guilt for some time has been used as a weapon that can attack you from the outside and the inside. Some of you may have been in relationships where guilt was used against you, almost like a button to be constantly pressed when someone wanted to get an emotional reaction from you, wanted to disarm you, wanted to defend themselves, or get themselves out of a scenario where they were guilty of something and wanted to make you feel like you were the guilty one. So, in essence, turning the tables. In addition, there are some times where guilt is self inflicted and it's not used by anyone around you, but it's something that you use to persecute yourself, to sabotage yourself, and to punish yourself for a perceived flaw or set of flaws or a lack of measuring up to a certain standard that you have prescribed for yourself. So tonight is about releasing that guilt. And one of the best ways to do so is to recognize first the trap that you're in. For guilt to be a continuous issue means that you have somewhere in your mind concluded that you can never escape the punishment. When in essence, if we look at, even as corrupt as our criminal justice system is, if you look at it on paper, for certain mistakes, certain crimes, things that are against certain laws that are maybe justifiable, they have an ending to the sentence. There's, 1 to 5, 5 to 10. Some of them are 30 days, 60 days, where you are locked away and then you are released at a certain point. But some of us walk around in a perpetual state of imprisonment, feeling like we don't deserve to be released for past mistakes or even recent ones. So I want us to kind of view it in that sense. Why is it that you feel that you cannot transcend past mistakes? And in essence, a lot of times those mistakes aren't even high level. We have a tendency to minimize our accomplishments and inflate our mistakes. Sometimes it's done on the outside, sometimes it's done towards us as children, and sometimes we do it to ourselves. And we have to get to a point where we realize the imbalance and we realize that this is not a reality, although it feels real, because we are in control of our perspective, of our viewpoint, of our worldview, and our view of self, and how we construct our self image and self concept. And we are also in control of who we allow into our lives and what tactics we allow to be done to us. For us to be in relationships long term with people who make us feel guilty about ourselves means that on some level we resonate with what they're saying, even if what they're saying at the particular time doesn't make sense or you shouldn't feel guilty about. Somebody who uses guilt as a persecution tactic will resonate with you if you feel that way internally about yourself. That's the only way that a relationship will carry into longevity with a toxic partner, is if you feel like on some level They must be right about something. You deserve that type of punishment, or you feel on some level that you deserve to be punished by way of that person. Because a lot of times, if we really look at it, relationship partners are extensions of ourselves. And if we feel like we're not good enough, we're going to attract people who show us that every day, that we're not good enough, which is why a lot of people fall into those toxic cycles, because the feelings don't change. And that's why part of that process is to release those perspectives and start to work to the contrary. Part of releasing guilt is part of detaching from things or people who punish you, people who treat you a certain way, people who verbally abuse you. To detach from them symbolically means that you don't agree with their actions and their viewpoint. That's a major step. So look around you. Is there anyone, including your parents? I mean, family, etc. If you know, I don't care what the title is. If you're constantly in connection with people who trigger your guilt mechanism, or who intentionally want to make you feel less than, or feel negative, or feel as though you have done things wrong and you can never be forgiven or never clean the slate, then you are in a perpetual state of guilt activation, because you keep the connection and energy tied to people who constantly make you feel that way. Period. So you have to, in letting go of guilt, you have to let go of the guilt perpetrators, the people who perpetually start and spark momentum in a guilt cycle. You can't afford to move forward, and you will never transcend that if you keep it in rotation. Number two, you have to be much more compassionate towards yourself. You have to really examine your standard levels. And what happens a lot of times with guilt or perfectionism, a lot of times perfectionism and guilt are tied together. A lot of times you create impossible standards, and because you can't reach those impossible standards, you feel less than and worthless and not able to, and you put yourself in a position to be punished, sabotaged, etc. So it's giving yourself an excuse to punish yourself, because you set the bar, and then even if you reach the bar, you set it higher before you reach it. So you're creating an impossible trap, and all you do with that trapping energy is invite other people who will continue the energy. That's really what it is. That's why I always say you meet your energetic equal every time. It's not about like I need to I keep dating all of these toxic people, I need to meet my energetic equal. Nah, like, you've been meeting them every time. So if they look the same, that means you're the same. So you have to change in order to change what you attract. And what, because again, people come in to help push the to keep continue the momentum. It ain't nothing new. It's not a secret as to why you would attract somebody who would try to persecute you mentally, emotionally, verbally, etc., if you didn't already feel those things about yourself. Because if you didn't, you would have cut them day 2, 3. They wouldn't last. Because they wouldn't resonate. There would be no resonance. If we look at magnets, if we look at physics and all these different types of things, just the harmony of the universe, everything makes sense. And if we're comprised of energy, we are bound to the laws of energy, and it's all the same thing. So if we want to transcend that, we have to do different things. We have to counteract our previous patterns, and we have to focus on our accomplishments, and we have to treat them as accomplishments, not treat everything as what you're supposed to do. That's just what I'm supposed to do. I'm just supposed to do that. Because again, you're minimizing your accomplishments, and you're maximizing your mistakes. And on some level, a lot of you may have been in positions where this was modeled to you, this was communicated to you, especially in a parental structure, in the family environment. A lot of times parents will maximize your mistakes, and then whenever you get A's, whenever you get trophies in sports, or whenever you excel, you're supposed to do that. But then, the second you get a B instead of an A, now you're the worst person on the planet, and you're the dumbest person on the planet, and it's almost like you've never accomplished anything. And a lot of us are echoing that voice, and we need to release that guilt, release that voice from us by being counteractive to it, being disobedient to it. Any voice that's acting in within our heads, subconsciously, unconsciously, like, you have to develop a habit of working against it and doing the opposite, and creating a new momentum. That's really the only way to separate yourself from what's controlling you, because it's only your reality as long as you believe in that. If you believe that you should be guilty, then there's nobody that can free you. So once you believe that you have transcended guilt, and you are doing the best you can, and you are compassionate with yourself, and you are a good-hearted person, and you are working on manifesting the best things because you deserve the best things, that nobody will be able to tell you or impose guilt upon you. These are the facts, and it goes both ways. So hopefully that resonated with some of you. I know it did. It's something that I felt inspired to discuss tonight. So I know it was something that, you know, uh, hopefully hit a space, and hopefully is disruptive to your pattern, and hopefully will get you on the right track with establishing some consistency with embracing the greatness that is within you, the worth, the value, all of the above. So thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely click the link in the description if you would like to set up a Zoom consult with me and talk strategies. If you do need some help and support in this area, I'd love to be a part of your success, as you know. So make sure you guys follow at Happiness Decoded 101, and make sure you guys subscribe and share the broadcast as well. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.